Last time on Vito vs. Z. Vito and the V-Fighters find themselves in the midst of the dark shadows of three more dark theories. The Pixar theory, the Simpsons theory, and the Tom and Jerry theory. But they were able to quickly avoid imminent death. But that's not all for our V-Fighters. There are more dark theories lurking in the shadows. Find out what happens here on Vito vs. Z.
This is Sandstorm.
Sandstorm, you got one?
There's the one I was just looking at, the Samurai Jack and Professor Utonium.
Oh yeah. I was going. Yeah. Go ahead. Yep.
Go for it. So I don't know how this works exactly, but basically that chemical X is the product of Aku from Samurai Jack, and so that's where the power, how the Powerpuffs, became super or whatever. But it's also that Jack has been flung through time and all this other stuff, so he's like the alternate universe, if you will, the Marvel version of Professor Utonium. So I don't know if that means he got a piece of it, he gave it to the professor, how that situation works, but either way, there are some similarities between the way they look, between Jack and
they're talking about the same person too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like Gendy Tartakovsky, he pretty much did Cartoon Network at that point in time. So it's not like it couldn't. He just didn't like copy and paste or just be like good enough. Or somebody was like, "What if Utonium was a BA?" And he was like Samurai Jack,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, either way, I think it's interesting to mention that that because it's chemical X, like where did that come from? Where did it come from?
And it's black.
You notice I think there's one other episode where he has more chemical X, and that's how they got what are they called? The Rowdy Rough Boys.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like there is no more chemical X. So it's like, where did he didn't make it, obviously, at that point. Or you would think there would be more or something. So yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna add on to that because I definitely wanted to do that one too. So the theory I heard with that was Samurai Jack and Akuza. They basically, or what was the demon name?
Aku.
Mm-hmm. So Samurai Jack and Aku were, they're going through this battle. They're doing what they do and stuff. Somehow, Aku knocks out or does something where he paralyzes Samurai Jack and basically has him in this trance state or like this paralyzed state where he's able to like mess with his mind and go into his mind. And so the Powerpuff Girls, this is where the Powerpuff Girls come in. He's basically put him in this false reality, and he's Professor Utonium, and the Powerpuff Girls were made, and of course, like you said, that chemical X, that's like a Akuza or something like, or Aku, and basically the Powerpuff Girls are really like Aku's puppet to like control Jack in that paralyzed state, like to keep him in that paralyzed state, because you notice he feels defenseless, and he loves to mess out them girls. He can't live without them. You know what I mean? There was actually an episode where it's kind of like that. So I actually saw that like, oh snap, this theory is kind of backed up once you start looking at how weak Professor Utonium is, and it's the fact that he had an ally, but the ally got like messed up too with that chemical X, which is the monkey Mojo Jojo. That was his little. But really, that monkey is like his subconscious trying to wake him up. It's like so basically it's like he's attacking the Powerpuff Girls because he's trying to attack Aku. You know what I mean? And get rid of Aku, since Aku
Right.
is, you know, the Powerpuff Girls trying to keep Jack into this state, thinking that he's, you know, Professor Utonium. So that made me. Oh, and then like I think him is actually Aku, just kind of like in the foreshadows, just kind of like, you know, like popping up, just checking on him, like basically like saying, "I'm here, I'm him." He don't have a name, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying. That's actually a cool, just basically messing with Professor, because you notice the Powerpuff
It's
Girls
him.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't
The
say who it really is.
yeah, but the Powerpuff Girls can't beat him. He never really gets beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just kind of gives up, like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll just let y'all have it. I'll come back later." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Him never goes. He's the one of the only ones that never goes to jail either.
yeah,
Exactly.
he never gets defeated. So that was like the little theory that just had me like, oh wow. You know, once you start going down that rabbit hole of it and just think of the Powerpuff Girls as being this controlling mechanism that's really a Aku's like demon spawn or something like that, keeping Jack into this parallel state. This paralyzed state. That actually makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? That's how I feel like you can connect it if that was a real theory. You know what I mean? So Noodle, your turn.
All right. I do have one, but I'm gonna okay. So I do have one other thing to add on with this Powerpuff Girl Samurai Jack situation, but I want to say this to the very end. So this to blow your mind and everything else, but I want to say that to the very end of our theories and stuff.
All right.
So I'm just letting you know that. But because when hearing this and everything, and I was like thinking, I'm like, I just thought of something in my head that just came to my just thought of something, and this is actually technically true. This is actually true, but again, this is more of a surprise at the very end. This is going to lead into that whole conversation we had with the Samurai Jack Powerpuff Girl situation. So save that. But anyways, back to my theory. My theory this time I'm going to bring up because there's so many theories, and I've been looking at like so many things with like post-trauma disorder and cancers and different things with certain characters. So I think the one that stood out the most to me was Charlie Brown is dying of cancer.
Yo, I never heard that. Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I've been looking at it, it's like I've been seeing like the whole thing, like the whole thing with Winnie the Pooh, the one with Donald Duck. There's one with
Right.
what's the other one I think of? There was the
Doug Funny has schizophrenia. That's
that's it. Doug, the one with
snap.
Doug has schizophrenia.
I didn't know that.
And also Garfield is actually hallucinating from starvation, stuff like that. So like there's a lot of like disorder stuff going on. So I was like, Charlie Brown stood out the most to me because I grew up. I think all of us grew up with Charlie Brown, so we know this easily, but we never thought of it as like him having cancer, like that. How is that possible?
right.
So I'll do the best to explain this. Let's see. It says here. Let's see. He has terminal cancer. Not horribly dark enough. Let's see. The reason he's always seemed so down and life doesn't seem to give him a break is that his adventures and entire life are all illusions. So, so when you think about it, all the stuff from the movies when he went to Paris, the whole Great Adventure where the race and different things like that. So these are all like his illusions and stuff to it. Wow. So I'm like, wow, I would never think that. I mean, but like don't get me wrong, like the cartoons were great, especially like my two top favorite movies were basically the like I said, was the Great Race and the Paris one.
Yeah.
Those were my two favorite ones because like seeing Charlie Brown and Linus go into Paris and meet this girl and trying to learn how to speak it and everything else, and then Peppermint Patty and them, like all of them start showing up. I was like, okay, this is cool and great and everything else. But then the Great Race was the best one because of the fact of like first of all, I think it was two of them. It was the Great Race. It was I think it was like two different ones, or I think it's the same. Because I remember at one of them, like Snoopy freaking like I know at the beginning, at the end, the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, you always see Snoopy on a fucking motorcycle, like literally on a motorcycle, freaking drops off like Charlie Brown, or literally leaves to go back home on a freaking motorcycle. And I'm just like, what the heck? What are you freaking riding? Like, yo, Snoopy, what are you riding a motorcycle for? When did you start doing that crap?
Right.
Time is like, but the adventure was actually great, going down the raft and everything else of that. It was just like, it was very interesting, but I would never expect Charlie Brown to have, dying of cancer. I would never expect that whatsoever.
That's wild.
So it is very wild. So I would never thought it would be like an illusion. But I mean, what'd you expect with everything we've seen Charlie Brown go through with, trying to kick a football and freaking, he freaking falls on his head like I don't know how many times, and then someone like, no, you're gonna take it on that. No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, fine. I'm like, what the heck? So, I mean, that was one of the things that caught my attention.
Dang, okay, I never heard that one. I never heard that one.
Yeah, look, I was surprised myself.
Yeah, man, that is mind blowing. All right, so